We good?
Yep.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. I'm John Bonar, and I'm going to be presenting tonight to DevSec Club about IT certifications. What are they? Why you should get them, and who should get them. And I'm going to talk to the slides as I do this presentation, and we'll probably go through pretty quickly, and then we'll go back and focus on specific areas that people have questions on. But I'd like to start a little bit about who am I. I'm an information system security engineer at Collins Aerospace, which is part of Raytheon Technologies, which is a aerospace and defense contractor. I'm a senior right now in the bachelor in cyber operations at DSU, and in 2 months I'll be starting my master's in cyber defense as well. I'm an old fogey. I have been working in IT in various sectors for over 20 years. I currently hold a slew of certifications. I have a CISSP, which stands for Certified Information Systems Security Professional, a Security Plus continuing education certification. I'm a Dell certified system expert on way too many pieces of equipment. I have a CompTIA PDI Plus, which is a printer certification, printer and imaging. And I'm also certified in multiple HPI and HPE products. I've since let my certification lapse with Apple for being a certified Mac technician, IBM InfoPrint, and Harbor Touch point of sale systems, just because I don't work in that environment anymore and haven't done so in nearly a decade. Also, I costume as Darth Vader for different events and things like that, and I'm actually in this picture. I'm the guy on the far right. I do a Return of the Jedi, Darth Vader. I'm 6.5 feet tall, so I'm the original actor, David Prowse sized bad guy, except I'm 400 pounds, so I'm a fat Darth Vader. I'm going to level set the discussion here real quick. For this topic, we're going to talk about the model that I'm going to be talking about a lot about is going to be based off the Department of Defense 8570 baseline certification guidance. This guidance is based on different types of information assurance roles inside of geared towards federal information systems, particularly the DoD. And this is based around NIST, NIST or National Institute of Science and Standards and Technology, NICE framework, which basically creates a Bible of the different standardized job roles inside of cybersecurity and information assurance. So some of the roles I'm going to be talking about are IAT, which is Information Assurance Technical, IAM, Information Assurance Management, Audit, and then IASAE, which is Information Assurance Security Architecture and Engineering, and also in Incident Response. Additionally, if you work for looking at a cloud service provider or a managed service provider that it deals with federal information systems, whether for a contractor with the federal government or as a managed service such as Platform One, the cybersecurity service provider roles, analyst, incident response, and infrastructure. DoD has two types of certifications: a broad certification, which is security focused, and this is generally what most federal and contractors are going to be looking for, is that base security focused broad certification, and then a specialized certification focused on your role. So if you're going to be a network engineer and you're working in a Cisco environment, they're going to want you to also, besides getting your security certification, they're going to want you to get a certification in like your CCENT or your CCNA as well, depending on the level of responsibility that you have within that for information assurance. I've included a link in the slide deck below, and I believe I'm gonna make sure that gets shared out to anybody who's interested, and it'll also go in the DevSec Defensive Security Club's archive. Let's talk about certifications. There's a lot of them. There are a metric ton of cyber certifications out there. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, some of them are very focused, and others are broad. I stole this image off Reddit, but it really does highlight just the huge amount of different certifications out there. And these are really all security related focused certifications, and does not really cover like Microsoft certifications, Cisco, Dell, EMC, VMware, all the different vendor certifications as well. This is really just focused on the different types of security pieces here. So it can be very overwhelming for people to find out what kind of certifications are even useful for them in their career path or their desired career path that they want to move down. And to quickly cover what are certifications, certs are professional certifications in computer technology that are non-degree awards made to those who have achieved qualifications specified by a certifying authority. Generally, what that means is that you've taken a test in a proctored fashion uh, and you have passed that test, and then then you're awarded a certification for a specified period of time, and you can renew that certificate by completing continuing education credits or taking a higher level certification or taking a renewal test. Why you should get certified. Basically, there's a bunch of reasons. Certifications demonstrate proven knowledge in specific fields. Some of the classes that you've already taken, if you're in a cyber operations or network security administration base role or computer information systems management role, a degree at DSU, some of these classes will teach you the basics and give you the equivalent knowledge that you're going to need to go past like the CompTIA A+ certification, Security Plus, etc. And finally, many employers require certification as a condition of employment or obtaining a certification in your area of knowledge within a specific period of time. Great examples of this: federal service, Department of Defense, Department of Energy, state, um, the various executive services beyond that, the different Department of Justice. If you're going to work in IT in any way, whether you're doing your cybersecurity analyst, your server administrator, or an architect, you're going to have certifications in order to be in that space. Defense and aerospace, Raytheon, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, Textron, BA Systems. If you go look at all of those job apps, they're looking for system administration, programmers, and things like that. They're looking for people that have working knowledge of things like software development lifecycle, and are expecting people to have some type of certification in addition to having a 4-year degree or a 6-year degree or a PhD, depending on the job role that you're looking for. And finally, heavily regulated businesses, health, utilities, banking, other types of maritime service. A lot of those companies are now requiring that their IT staff is certified, in addition to having a 4-year degree or better in these fields. And that's just one thing. And, it's just the way things are. It's just the way things are doing, because your degree shows you that you have this broad knowledge, but sometimes when they're looking for a Cisco person, they're looking for someone who has that working knowledge and can quickly become a productive member of the team, and does not have to spend months onboarding before they become a productive member of the team. Why you should get certified. It looks good on your resume or your CV. It demonstrates that, hey, I know these things, specifically applying to that field or that certification. Also, it's justification for promotion or a pay raise. Right now, according to Forbes, a CISSP makes an average of $135,000 a year in the U.S. And relevant top-tier certifications can lead up to a $12K a year salary increase that are relevant to your career path. So certifications are worth the pain, or worth the studying, and the upfront money, the cost of taking the certification exam, because it can pay you off give you a significant payoff in the long run. Particularly towards the DefSec Club, I'm going to talk about blue team certifications first. And I'm going to break it down into 3 different levels: entry level, mid level, and then like a senior principal level. So at the entry level, these are, you're just finishing up school, you're looking to get into a security role. These are some of the certifications that you're going to want to be interested in looking at, take, and pass, to make yourself look better and to demand more pay, better compensation from prospective employers, because you're demonstrating, this, acute technical knowledge. Things like the Security Plus, the Server Plus, the Linux Plus, the Network Plus, or the CISA. which are all those are just CompTIA certifications. They're very vendor neutral. They don't require specific knowledge of Cisco or Microsoft and things like that. They're pretty set to there. Splunk certification, Microsoft Associate in like Azure Secure Identification and Management, those different pieces. And as you can see, I typed Splunk twice. Splunk is a very, very, very popular SIEM out there in industry, especially in federal and heavily regulated industries. So having a Splunk certification makes you very marketable to different companies, because that's generally a tool a lot of companies are using, and it's very popular. And also, it works also well with, like, you can take that knowledge and apply it very easily to Alien Vault and other SIEMs out there as well. There's also a CFR certification, and I completely forget to write down what that one is for. There's so many certifications that I'm going to mention a few that I don't even know what they stand for, so I apologize. But the CFR is I believe it's a forensics, a base entry level forensics certification. If you've already, after a few years, and as you start to move up in your job role, and you're looking to move up to, you want to take on a mid-level, such as a senior or an associate level position, getting certified in Red Hat Enterprise Linux, taking some of the GIAC certifications, which are extremely challenging and hard, but very worth it. You will learn a lot going through a GIAC certification. There's a ton of workable, actionable knowledge that you can apply to your job and to the real world. And those certifications, while being some of the toughest to pass, honestly are frankly some of the best certifications you can get. And employers that are looking for people that are good, knowledgeable employees will definitely respect a GIAC certification. Other certifications include like the CISSP, which the CAS for the certified author, the CAS certified. Sorry, it's an ISC squared one. The CISM, which is the Certified Information System Manager, or the CISA, which is the Certified Information System Assessor. Various Microsoft expert certifications. There's a transition. So if you used to, you might have heard the words like MCSA, MCSE, talking about Microsoft certifications. Beginning this year, they've retired the Microsoft certified, Microsoft certified, the MCSA and the MCSE certifications, and they've now moved to an associate expert, and they've moved to a three-star system. And those certifications are now very targeted towards specific tools and application suites. So like getting your certification in Azure, particularly like Azure's identification and management, or an Azure tool, is a certification. It's certification that is highly valuable to a lot of companies. Same thing with AWS, Cisco, and Oracle, especially in the cloud pieces. Cloud is becoming is growing rapidly, even still today. More and more companies are offloading on-premise solutions into the cloud, as it reduces risk and reduces upfront initial costs, and allows them to have a much more manageable, flattened cost over the life cycle of a tool or a service that they're using. And then so in the mid-level, then finally, as you start moving into what's called a senior or principal position, that's someone that's been in that role for 10 to 15 plus years. And these are the top tier, these are the experts that on a team that are the go-to people for big problems that need solutions, or figuring out the complex issues, such as, if you have an advanced persistent threat actor who has been in the system, these are the people that are going to be the ones that are going to lead the charge to figure out what has been compromised, how it was compromised, and how to fix it. At this level, you're going to want to look at your SAN certifications and your GIAC advanced certifications. These are certifications you're going to spend over a year studying for, practicing for, before you take a test. And they are extremely knowledge intensive, and you have to have the experience on top of the knowledge to pass these exams. Like I said, they're the toughest ones out there, but someone who has a SAN certification in intrusion detection, advanced intrusion detection, is, they're one of the top subject matter experts in their field, and they are generally highly respected, not just within their own company, but within the industry as a whole. These are the people that present at Black Hat, DEF CON, and present very complex issues and break them down simply. That covers basically some of the blue team certifications. Again, these are not recommendations. These are just some good certifications that see a lot of recognition, regardless of what industry that you're looking to be involved in your career path, whether that's working for the federal government, working for a defense contractor, a bank, a small medium business, whatever you're looking for. These are very well recognized certifications. Any questions before I continue on?
None for me.
Awesome.
Good, so good.
So moving on, we're going to talk about the red team, the bad guys, or the good guys that wear black hats. So red team certifications, I'm not as knowledgeable in this space, I'll be 100% honest with you, but these are some certs that I know that are very popular, and I have some friends that work in this space as professional pen testers, and this is their recommendation that they've given to me on the progression path on being a red team, for someone that wants to be on a red team. As your entry level, you want to get your certified ethical hacker or your CompTIA pen test. As you move down that career path, and now you've been in there for five years, you're going to want to look at getting your offensive security certified professional, your GIAC certificate, entry level certifications, and there's also vendor specific red team tool certifications out there. I believe Red Canary has one now. Again, select tools that you like and are comfortable with, and that align with your career path, whether that's with your current employer or prospective employers. Find out what they want, what they like, what tools they like to use, and find out if there's certifications for it, because having those certifications demonstrates that you have proven workable knowledge that you can apply. Especially with with ones like the OSCP, SANS, and the GIAC ones. You have to have practical working knowledge in order to pass those exams. It's not rote memorization. I say that those are really good. All of these are really good certifications to helping you out along your journey as wanting to be a red team, as a person working the red team. Or if you are on the blue team and you're looking to pick up some red team certifications to have some purple team skill sets, these are all good certifications to look at as well. And then we're going to hop over here into our technical certifications or information assurance technician roles. This is where we're going to get into some very vendor-specific certifications, such as like an entry level, the VMware VCAP or the associate professional that teaches you ESX, NSX, vSAN, the vCloud tools, Tanzu, and all of these other wonderful tools that VMware makes. Horizon, actually no, they killed Horizon Flex, sorry. But all these different tools, having those certifications really does help. And this is a field like with VMware, very good VMware techs are hard to find. And so you're not going to be hard pressed to find a job, especially as businesses are continuing to virtualize workstations and move to zero clients and things like that for remote work and those such use cases. Your Microsoft Associate certifications, having knowledge of Server 2019, identification and auditing, and those different those Microsoft certs, whether that's you're looking at Azure, the Azure stack, or you're looking at on-prem tools such as Windows 10, Server, Exchange, things like that. Cisco CCNA. If you've taken the routing and switching class, I took that with Tyler Flagan last summer, and that that class worked exclusively out of the CCNA book. So continuing to study beyond that class and working on the CCNA knowledge base will get you set up to go take a somewhat challenging network test from Cisco that involves practical labs and also extensive knowledge of the Cisco iOS operating system, and different models and best practices as Cisco sees them. Again, all great things that you'll pick up. Additionally, you want to look at things like your Security Plus, your Network Plus, your Server Plus, and your A Plus, depending on what fields you want to get into. There are many companies out there who are not Cisco shops, whether they're Dell Power Connect, they're HP switches, or they're even, they're Netgear or one of many other companies out there. Having the general Network Plus, it shows that you have you've demonstrated knowledge to be a network admin. Moving up, and the A plus, if you want to work in a desk side environment where you're helping people out daily, solving their problems and working on client computers as you move up to become a server administrator, A plus is an excellent exam to go take and pass. It's not extremely technically challenging, but it is a good certification for an entry level person in any field because you've demonstrated base computational capabilities, and you shouldn't be. And it's a very solid certification to begin your path along. Next, we go to mid-level. This is your systems administrator, infrastructure specialist, VMware's VCP certifications, the Microsoft Expert certifications, Red Hat Linux certification, the LPIC 1 or LPIC 2, which are generic Linux certifications. They're very challenging, but if you can pass the LPIC 1, I guarantee you that I'll tell you this right now, having an LPIC 1, and if my company was hiring a Linux administration with a degree in an LPIC 1, if you interview even moderately well, you're going to be getting a job offer. The LPIC 1 demonstrates solid Linux knowledge across the board. Having that certification, or the LPIC 2, which is the next level above it, is fantastic. That's a very useful, powerful certification that can help open doors for you. Then we move on to our senior and principal level, senior system administrators, infrastructure, senior infrastructure specialist, the CCIE, which is the top level Cisco certification, and other top level certifications from EMC, Azure, AWS, the LPIC 3, and the Red Hat Enterprise Linux Specialty certifications. These are capstone certifications that prove that you are a subject matter expert in that field. And honestly, you're in that top 5% elite of people that understand that particular realm so well that you have practical and technical knowledge that sets you above and beyond. I mean, these people are in extremely high demand. If you can't find a job with these certifications, it's very there has to be something else going on here, because you can go out right now looking for people that have these certifications, and there are job roles open with big sign-on bonuses, relocation bonuses, and things like that. So I mean, these are some very elite certifications. Then we get into security management for the people that want to be in information systems management. I'm going to break this down. This is, again, I'm going to be using federal government terms here: entry level Information Systems Security Officer, or ISSO. You're going to want to have a Security Plus or the CISA Plus, associate of ISC squared, and I apologize, associate of CISSP, and some sort of Agile certification are all fantastic certs to have. And the reason why it says associate of CISSP, you cannot be awarded, you cannot get a CISSP certificate just because you passed the test. You have to go through an accreditation process to show that you have 5 years of working experience in the 8 domains, in 2 of the 8 domains, inside the CISSP. If you don't have that, you'll be awarded an associate of ISC squared, and you'll have, I believe, 2 calendar years to collect the necessary working knowledge and go through the accreditation process to be upgraded to an actual CISSP. But however, if you have that associate of ISC squared, especially in the CISSP, that's actually really solid. It's a really solid credential to have. And that again, that's almost treated as the same as having a CISSP, except for a couple of small little areas with the DoD certification baseline framework. As you go up to mid-level, this is where you're going to run into information system security managers or ISSMs. Here's where you're going to want to get your GIAC certifications in information system security management. You want to get your CISSP, your CAST, your CISM, or your CISA. And you want to start working on it's called an endorsement to your CISSP, called the ISSMP, which is the Information System Security Management Professional. This is a very difficult test on top of your CISSP. You have to have the CISSP before you take the ISSMP. And that is again, that's one of those top tier certifications that you can get, because it means basically you've mastered the working knowledge required to be a system security management professional. I'm using the exact same term as it's described, but it means that you understand security frameworks, the models, risk management framework, and various security lifecycle management, including software development lifecycle, and those various other pieces, which makes it very valuable to businesses to have people on the security side, on the management side, that can understand these processes and ensure that their programs and their projects are compliant with those requirements that they have to meet. And then you move up to your senior principal level. This is generally like an enterprise information system security manager. In smaller companies, this would be your chief information security officer. You're going to want to look at your SAN certifications. Again, your GIAC advanced certifications, and then there's a certification called the Certified Authorizing Professional from ISC Squared. This is actually really geared towards federal information systems, NIST 853. It's a very technical ISO 27000 series and NIST-based certification that is really focused on security compliance, frameworks, modeling, and taking those controls, evaluating system security plans, and how whether or not they are compliant with those, and providing the authority to operate those information systems throughout their life cycle. Then we get into, and if I'm going too fast or anyone has questions, please, I'm full screen right now. I don't have a second monitor, so I can't see if anyone's chatting anything. Please stop me.
I'll let you know
The last
if
section. Huh? I'm sorry.
I'll let you know if anyone posts a question, so don't worry about it.
Awesome. Thank you. The last section we're going to get into is the security architecture and engineering certifications. These are systems architecture is generally a high level position where system administrators and engineers with many years of experience get pulled in to lead and set policy, standards, practices, and principles of how an enterprise, whether that's a small business, a medium business, or the entire Department of Defense, is going to approach their information systems, whether at various levels, and develop the architectures, the views, and the models that the systems that all new changes to the system should revolve around. Again, if you're for an entry-level architecture or security engineer, you're looking at a CISSP certification. And then there's different architectural frameworks. Zachman, which is an ontological view of system architecture. TOGAF, which is an open architectural framework, and other architectural certifications out there. This includes things like going and getting federal segmented architecture methodology training, or Department of Defense architectural framework, or DODAF certification, which is probably one of the most technical certification architectural frameworks I've ever seen in my life. There's 3 layers to it. The base layer is XML code, because the framework is literally a program in the end. You also want to look at your DevOps certifications from like the DevOps group, your CCSP, which is your I can't remember the name. I apologize. I'm horrible with acronyms right now. particular vendor-specific architectural certifications such as AWS, Azure, Oracle, Cisco. These are very challenging tests. I would not expect a person, I would not expect myself. I couldn't pass the AWS architecture professional test out there right now. And I work actively in AWS and Azure on a daily basis, and I could not pass their architectural tests. Also, Agile certification are great entry-level certifications for these roles. To move up, you'll want to move into your additional endorsements from ISC squared for your CISSP, Information Systems Security Engineering Professional, which is really actually geared towards federal compliance, mostly with risk management framework and the NIST Special Publication 800 series. And then you have the ISSAP, or the Information System Security Architecture Professional, and that's geared towards ISO and other architectural frameworks out there, such as Zachman and TOGAF. You'll also want to look at picking up a model-based systems engineering certification, such as No Magic Tools, No Magic, which is part of Dassault Systems now, or particularly their Cameo Enterprise Architecture, Cameo Systems Modeler, IBM's Rhapsody, model-based systems engineering tool, Enterprise Architect, which is actually really geared towards enterprise architectures and has different views, ontologies, and frameworks. And you'll also want to look at possibly even picking up your DevSecOps certification. Because as you start getting into more and more advanced, and the businesses moving more and more towards DevOps and DevSecOps, being able to provide those architectural frameworks to set the vision and the direction that those pipelines are, how they're going to be developed, maintained, and work and supported, is actually really, really important. And having someone in the organization that has the certifications, has the working knowledge on how to deploy dependable, scalable, capable, and sustainable pipelines is very important. I've seen several organizations deploy CI/CD pipelines that were not sustainable, and they sunk hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of engineering hours into keeping these pipelines alive, and they were actually less efficient than their older methodologies, where they weren't trying to use automation to build their deliverables. And then finally, we get into our senior and principal roles, principal level. This is again where we come to SANS certifications and the GIAC certifications. Both of those organizations are fantastic organizations. If you have not had a chance to really look at them, please do. They're both they're both great organizations. It's very difficult to become a SANS instructor. I will tell you that right now. I would reach out to some of our faculty, Dr. Philip Eggenberger, and I'm totally murdering his name right now. Has told me some stories about SANS and GIAC, but when you get to that level where you've got SANS and GIAC advanced certifications, again, you're the elite of the elite. Your opinion should be highly respected among your industry peers, regardless whether they're coworkers or friendly competitors. Really, that's the capstone. We're talking, these are the people that have doctorates in system architecture and things like that. That's the level that a SANS certification and a GIAC advanced certification is really at. It's demonstrating a decade-plus level of skill in knowledge in that specific certification area. And I have just run through a metric ton of different certifications, and I'm going to cover one more real quick. And this is project management. So if there are some of you who are interested in project management, I'm going to cover these really quickly. I'm not a project manager. I respect people who are. They're very good at herding cats, but it is not something I'd ever want to do. But I would recommend that if you're going to be a project manager, want to be a project manager, or specifically a security project manager, as you start out, get your Agile certification, get your Six Sigma your green belt, get your certified security project management Security Plus, CISA, Project Plus. As you move along, there's the product management in information security from GIAC. There's the certified Scrum Master, and then there's also another GIAC certification, which is just certified project manager. And then as you finally move into that senior position where you're leading large projects, where you maybe have 100+ individual contributors involved with, you're going to want to get your project management professional certification in your Six Sigma Black Belt or your Master of Agile, which I did not include here. These are all very, very good certifications, and they really show that as a project management professional, you have demonstrated the skill and knowledge to lead projects to success. And I will tell you this right now, in medium to large organizations, project managers can make or break projects. And when you have a project that might be a multi-million-dollar project that cannot fail for the business, having the wrong project manager lead it can spell failure, especially on some certain security projects where it requires liaising with different government representatives and certification authorities that require, such as DOE. Like if you work for a nuclear power plant, it's a super heavily regulated industry. Going through and deploying an upgrade to a system that ties to nuclear surety is a very, very precise and heavily controlled and requires a lot of authorizations, approvals, reviews along that whole project. Having someone who doesn't know how to handle that or does it poorly can result in significant fines, creating a public danger, and things like that, just bad things happening. And that's why having these certifications, shows to prospective employers that you have the knowledge, you're valuable, and you should be compensated appropriately. And that's where I'm going to get to at the end here real quick, start winding down. If there's any questions about certifications, if I wasn't clear or I went way too fast, please let me know.
I have a question. Is there
Sure.
anything that you yourself learned while going through the certification process that you didn't expect, either about like unique study habits or hurdles that are unforeseen?
So I'm I have ADHD really bad, and I have found that one of the study habits that helped me prepare for the CISSP was I literally wrote down every bold or italic word and wrote down the definition, and I studied that as I crammed the night before and the day of my certification exam. The other piece that I've learned is you get an erasable whiteboard or a dry erase marker and a piece of shiny plastic or like a portable whiteboard. Things that you are not sure about, and trust me, and so let me take a step back and break that down again. Studying, cramming works very well for me, and especially cramming right before I walk in to take the exam, things that I have problem areas with. So I strongly suggest that you get test questions and try those out. Find out, and the test questions are generally, I found, in like the Security Plus, the CISSP, and the ISSEP, which I'm studying for right now. I have been told that the study questions are generally more difficult than the actual exam questions. So what I found what worked for me was I crammed very hard on the areas that I was weak in. And then when I walked into the start taking the test, I brain dumped everything out onto my whiteboard that I was handed, so that key terms and their meanings, ports, protocols, acronyms. All I brain dumped that out onto something visual in front of me as soon as I could, because that way I didn't feel like I was going to forget it, and it helped reinforce those weak areas. So when I took this, for example, when I took the CISSP, that's a test that you have no go back on. Once you answer a question and you hit next, you cannot go back to it, and it's a performance-based test. So as you answer a question, if you answer a question wrong, they're going to actually ask you more questions in that area. The CCNA and the CCENT do this as well. There's other tests that are starting to do this a lot more heavily. And the result is that in the CISSP, there's 25 calibration questions spread throughout the first 100 questions. And then there's 75, and those calibration questions don't count for score, but they count towards focusing on discovering areas that you might be weak on, and determining to ask more questions in that area. And it's a test that if you get to the 150th question and you answer it and you haven't hit a certain threshold, you fail. If you get to question at any time after the 100th question, if you only have a 5% chance of passing, you auto fail. If you have only a 5% chance of failing, you auto pass. And you have 3 hours to do this test in. And some of these and a lot of these questions are they're some of the hardest questions I've ever had to answer, because sometimes you have to pick the most right answer. So generally what I'd see in the multiple choice questions would be like one answer that's blatantly wrong, one that's kind of wrong, and then two that are both right, but one's more right. And that makes things really difficult. And so you have to, but if you use you use good elimination skills, you go back and you think about the different things about the ISC squared testing methodology, which you'll learn in the books, in the primer books. It kind of helps explain things out. So if you take a breath, you go think through the question again, reread it a second or a third time, and then look at the answers again. Generally, the right answer will peek out, but sometimes it might be very difficult to distinguish between which answer is the most right answer. From a study perspective, definitely, I found that writing things down, sometimes multiple times with their definition, was a huge help.
Cool, thank you for the answer. We have one question from our portal who says, "This is a lot. So what can we do for preferably free today to get started walking towards something?"
So there's a lot of good information out there. I started looking at Reddit. Reddit had a lot of good information. Then I went and looked at Stack Overflow, and also LinkedIn. There are, especially in the security field, there are a lot of professionals. We're very proud of our certification badges, so we'll put a link to our Euroclaim page on there. And the one thing I found is there's a lot of people that will write up their experiences, and even if they failed, they'll talk about where they were weak at and what they think they need to do. There's a lot of good free resources out there, and even better, if you're active duty, retired, or even if you're ROTC, there are, or even deferred enlistment people, by the way. There are people in uniform services, whether you're delayed entry or retired or not, there are a lot of free resources available for you through the military, through uniform service, a lot of law enforcement, life safety services such as EMTs, firefighters, first responders, and people that work for nonprofit have access to. And unfortunately, I don't have links to those resources. I apologize. There's a lot of free. There's a lot of free training out there. There's access to discounts on the book, on training material, and there's also, you can go out there and you can find a lot of people on YouTube. Even on YouTube, there's people that walk through the CISSP body of knowledge, and walk you through the training. Security Plus is fantastic. There's actually free Security Plus training out there on YouTube, and there's even CCIE and CCNA training out there as well. And if you go to Microsoft's certification page, there's free certifications, training courses on the Microsoft page, and links. And if you, for those of you that know about onthehub.com, if you use your trojans.dsu.edu email box, you can actually get free VMware labs and training to go learn the VMware pieces to go get your VCAP. or your VCP, which I'm totally taking advantage of. Finally, VMware for students also provides Kubernetes and DevOps training as well. So you can learn to work with containerization, containers, or container orchestration, Helm, all those different pieces, and it can teach you how to build your own DevOps pipelines. Same thing and things like that. So that gets you a really good start towards earning to build knowledge to go work on getting your certifications.
All right, cool. Thank you so much. I don't see any other questions, so thank you very much for presenting.
My pleasure. Thank you everyone for attending. Again, hope this was helpful. And again, feel free to email me at any time. I'm always willing to help share some knowledge, because this is a cybersecurity role. We're desperate for cybersecurity people. I'll tell you this right now: if you have a clearance and you've got a security plus or looking at getting a security plus, get a hold of me. My team is hiring at Collins. If you don't mind living in Cedar Rapids or Dallas, we're hiring.
All right, cool.